My name is Patrick Picking, and this is my great-grandfather, Frederick John Edward Picking. He was born in 1869 in London, England. He joined the British military service at the age of 15 and was sent to Dublin, Ireland. There he met my great-grandmother, Mary Josephine Maguire, also born in 1869. They were married at the age of 17 in 1886. In the year 1900, Frederick, Mary, and their 6 children moved to the small town of Claremorris, Ireland. Frederick had already worked for 11 years as a porter at a railway station in Trim. He continued his porter job at the railway station in Claremorris. Main Street has an area known as the Square, shown where the buildings are indented on the left side. Here we see it from the opposite direction, with St. John's Church in the distance. Of their 16 children, Emily Picking was the first born in 1888. My grandfather, Thomas Patrick Picking, was the 6th born in 1896. They lived in a modest 800 square foot row house on Mount Street. As the children got older, because it was very crowded, they moved out, and my grandfather left home at the age of 13. He emigrated to the United States in 1913 at the age of 17. Emily stayed and helped take care of the children. In early December 1916, Mary Maguire Picking traveled to the Coombe Hospital in Dublin for an operation to remove a tumor. Emily was now 28 years old and still living at home to help take care of the children. The last letter we have from Mary to her daughter Emily was sent from the Coombe Hospital on Sunday, December 3, 1916. Dear Emily, just a line in answer to yours. I'm writing this in bed. I'm not sure whether Monday or Tuesday the operation will be performed. But in case anything happens to me, no one's sure of life. You'll get 20 pounds and mind the children. If any of you will give Freddie her trade and the other 20 pounds apiece to all of the girls. Put away for them until they are of age. And my place, to which of them likes to settle in it. You can have any things, only look after the children. Get another bottle of Scott's emulsion for Freddie. The boys know what to do. If they like to go to America, see them off. Don't show this to your father until you see how things turn out, and then you can, as you know more what he is. I want a check for a few pounds to settle with the hospital, so you need not send until the operation is over. Goodbye, and God bless. Yours, all as ever, affectionate mother. Mary Josephine Maguire Picking died 5 days later on December 8, 1916, at the age of 47. Having 16 children in a 20-year period was probably too much for her body. One month later, Emily sent a letter to her brother, my grandfather Tom Picking, telling him of the death of their mother, the financial hardships she's facing, and asking for money for passage to send 2 more children to America. She ends the letter with, I know you will be upset, but you are not as bad off as me. So goodbye, your fond sister, Emily. Through the 1920s, Fred Picking continued working as a porter for the railway service. While some of the children had been sent off to America and a few passed away, Emily Picking never went to America. She stayed in the house on Mount Street to care for the remaining children, as her mother Mary had asked. In 1917, she married a man named Thomas Conlon. Their firstborn son was named William Conlon. They called him Son Conlon. Emily died at the age of 38 in 1927, when Son was only 10 years old. After his mother Emily died, Son Conlon continued to live with his grandfather Fred Picking in the house on Mount Street. By 1920, my grandfather, Thomas Picking, had been living in the United States for 7 years. That same year, he married an Irish woman he met in Detroit, Sarah McAvoy. They lived in the city of Detroit, where my grandfather, Thomas Picking, worked for the Detroit Police Force. They had 5 children in 6 years. This photo from 1942 shows my Aunt Alice Picking, my Uncle Tom Picking, my father, John Picking, my Aunt Florence Picking, and my Uncle James Picking. As he grew older, son Conlon also got a job at the railway service, like his grandfather, Fred Picking. Fred Picking continued to work as a porter for the railway service. He's pictured here with his son James on the left, we don't know the name of the man on the right, and the dog's name is Nipper. At the age of 69, Fred Picking retired after 49 years of railway service, 38 of them spent working in Claremorris. He received a nice overview of some events in his career, as shown here. These are the last pictures we have of Frederick Picking. Here he is with my Uncle Tom Picking, who visited him after World War II in November of 1945. Frederick Picking of Mount Street, Claremorris, passed away on October 2nd, 1946 at the age of 76. This is my Aunt Florence Picking, with her brother and my father, John Picking, in front of their house in Detroit, Michigan. In June of 1953, Florence took a cruise to Ireland on the Mauretania and visited Claremorris and the house on Mount Street. This is my Aunt Florence Picking with Maureen Conlon, son Conlon's wife. By 1953, this house on Mount Street had been owned by our family for 53 years. To our good fortune, Florence brought a movie camera with her. This is the Claremorris train station in 1953. Fred Picking had worked here for 38 years, and son Conlon was working here at this time. It still looks the same today. This footage was taken on a Sunday when pilgrims would arrive by train and be bused 6 miles away to Knock, where many people would go for healing and prayer. Seriously injured patients would be loaded into and transported by medical buses. Train travel in Ireland was comfortable. It looks like thin mattresses were used on that upper level for sleeping. Here we can see the reflection of Florence Picking. This employee is walking home, probably the same as Fred Picking would have. The Claremorris train station once had lines radiating out of it in 5 directions, but currently only the one line from Dublin to Westport remains in use. This is the road that leads up to Main Street. These buildings on Main Street still exist today. The J. Corbin Bar was closed on a Sunday morning. Ruan's is still in business. And Jeremiah Higgins is still open today and has been in business since 1820. Here we can see the area known as the Square. And farther down we can see what was once St. John's Church and is now the library. This is Mount Street. This is the house on Mount Street where Fred and Mary Picking once raised their family. Then their daughter Emily Picking and her husband Thomas Conlon raised their children here and was now the home to their son and Maureen Conlon since their marriage in 1951. To the left of the house was Mick Morrissey Taylor. To the right, the gate led to Keen's Coal Yard. The blue-gray cottages were owned by the Neary brothers and were torn down in the 1970s. Across the street was Thomas H. Keen, where Fred would go in the evenings for his daily pint. And a place called Kelly's. The Jan Tostel Parade on Mount Street was a celebration of all that was good and fun about Irish life. These celebrations began in 1953 in hopes of increasing tourism and died out after a few years. Here is son Conlon, who seems like a fun-loving fellow. "19 years later, in 1972, my father's older sister, my Aunt Alice Mary, traveled to Claremorris. She took along my older sister, Cecilia Picking. Here we see son Conlon again, showing them around Galway. Son stayed in touch with our family over the years, and we have many letters and cards from him and Maureen. Like his grandfather, Fred Picking, son Conlon worked at the Claremorris station for 45 years. He was intimately associated with the life of the railway station and had a vast knowledge of the people and families who served with the company. A man with a great fondness for people, son endeared himself to many, and he served as a foreman at the station. Son Conlon passed away in 2005. I never did get to meet him.
I wish I was in Carrickfergus, only for nights in Ballygrand. I would swim over the deepest ocean, only for nights in Ballygrand. But the sea is wide, and I cannot swim over, and neither have I the wings to fly. I wish I had a handsome boatman to ferry me over, my love and I.
My wife Sharon and I are buying the house on Mount Street and will restore it to its former glory.